Good morning. Welcome to One Baha'i, that regular show where I just share a few personal thoughts about the Baha'i faith. It's nothing official, just one individual, one Baha'i. My throat's a bit scratchy this morning, so I'm drinking my coffee. So you'll notice we're back indoors today. I started to walk outside and was practically bowled over by some wind. Well, today's Wednesday, and as some of you may know, every Tuesday I talk with my friend Samuel and we look at the Kitab Yakan. So last night we were, looking at the Yakan again, and we ran across this one sentence that kind of caught my attention. It's in paragraph 216, which is in the middle of what some people refer to as the Tablet of the True Seeker. We'll probably talk about that more on some other days. But this morning, the sentence that caught my attention was, "Only when the lamp of search, of earnest striving, of longing desire, of passionate devotion, of fervid love, of rapture and ecstasy is kindled within the seeker's heart, and the breeze of loving kindness is wafted upon his soul, will the darkness of error be dispelled, the mists of doubts and misgivings be dissipated, and the lights of knowledge and certitude envelop his being." It's a very powerful sentence. And as I'm sure some of you have recognized by now, I often look for paths and patterns and clues within the writings. Now, a lot of friends have read this passage before they became Baha'i. And some, I've heard that some have asked, how can we possibly live up to all of these things that Baha'u'llah is telling us we need to do? And that's the first part of the Tablet of the True Seeker. But once he expounds all of the prerequisites for search, then he says, only when the lamp of search, and so on and so forth, is done. And I've had a lot of friends ask, well, how can we possibly live up to that? We can never be Baha'is. And I've said many times, I don't believe that this is about becoming a Baha'i. I believe it's about searching for God. And although I happen to believe that Baha'u'llah is the straightest and best path to God, I don't believe that you need to be a Baha'i. But I do believe quite fervently that you must understand your own faith in the light of Baha'u'llah's teachings. For example, unity. If your religion does not lead you to a greater sense of unity, then I believe that you have misunderstood your religion. So, I think for many of us, the question is, have we stopped searching? I'm not asking, are we a Baha'i? That's not the question. The question is, have we found God? And honestly, I don't think any of us have. I think we are all still searching. And I believe that this Tablet of the True Seeker applies to all of us, whether we're Baha'i or not. I don't think that's the question. So, when I read this passage, I have to ask, is the lamp of search lit? If we are searching, then that means that we are looking for new things. We are looking for something that we have not yet discovered. If we have stopped searching, then doesn't that imply that we have found all that there is to find in the writings? That doesn't seem possible to me. So the first condition, in my opinion, is that we must be continuing to search our whole life, always. Baha'u'llah says regarding the 7 valleys, the first valley of which, as you know, is search, is that if we become a Baha'i, we've already gone through the valleys once, but we always are continually going through them over and over and over. And I believe the same is here. The same is true here. We may have found Baha'u'llah, we may have become a Baha'i, but we should not stop searching. We should continually search for more and more truths, greater and deeper understanding of the writings, of the faith, of God. But search, that can be a very passive, low-key sort of thing. You know, like looking for your keys if you lost them. So it's not just search that he says. He then says, once you've begun searching, the next thing is to move towards earnest striving. Earnest means serious. Not just trifling. It's a serious search now. You're striving to find the truth. From there, we move into longing desire. Longing means to wish for vehemently, to really desire far beyond the norm. It's a longing desire. You know, sure, you're looking. You may be really searching hard, but now it's more personal. Now you have longing desire. It's moving deeper within your heart. And then passionate devotion. A devotion that is dominated by a strong feeling. Strong feeling of love, presumably. Because the next step is a fervid love. Fervid means intense, hot, glowing. You're radiant with this love. You see how each of these sections gets bigger and bigger and bigger within our own heart. A little search. Okay, now I'm striving, longing desire, passionate devotion, fervid love. And then you achieve rapture and ecstasy. Only when those are all kindled within the seeker's heart, and the breeze of his loving kindness is wafted upon his soul. So, you know, God's mercy is in there. It's not just up to you, it's also up to God. At that time will the darkness of error be dispelled. The mists of doubt and misgivings be dissipated. The lights of knowledge and certitude envelop his being. I can just feel this sigh of relief. Ah, finally. And at that hour will the mystic herald, bearing the joyful tidings of the Spirit, shine forth from the city of God. And Baha'u'llah goes on. Hi, George. Yes, this is my cat saying hello again. So he goes on with this idea of the city of God. And I find it interesting because when I think of a city, I think of, buildings and streets and businesses. But when Baha'u'llah talks about the city of God, he talks about, where is it? It's a little bit later on. He talks about the grass and the rose bush and the tulips. He talks about nature, the gardens within the city of God, how every leaf is calling out. He also makes an interesting statement. I was talking with Samuel about this last night. Baha'u'llah gives us a new vision of spirituality. A lot of my Christian friends, when they talk to me about heaven, to them it means singing the praises of God. That to them is heaven, and that's good. But here, Baha'u'llah says, with both his inner and outer ear, he will hear from its dust, the dust in the city of God, the hymns of glory and praise ascending unto the Lord of Lords. It is the dust that is singing the praises of God. Now imagine how much glorious true heaven really is. Baha'u'llah continually elevates our vision. That which we thought was heaven is only the dust in the city of God. I'll probably be talking about this tablet of the True Seeker a little bit more over the next few weeks. It's such an incredible piece. It is filled with so much. And what I find fascinating is that it occurs not at the beginning of the Kitab-i-Yakan, but over 200 paragraphs into it. We'll probably talk about that later too. In the meantime, thank you for joining me this morning. Hope you enjoy your day and stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, keep joyous. Oh, and by the way, fervid, I forgot to mention, fervid is a form of radiance. So stay radiant today. Keep bright. Thank you very much. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this, and I'd love to hear your comments. In the meantime, we'll talk tomorrow.